Hey, everybody, this is the Jim Acosta Show, and we have a special treat on this Friday. The great Kathy Griffin is joining us to talk about her remarkable comeback. She has a new YouTube special called My Life on the PTSD List. I love Kathy's take, No Prisoner Style. This is something, that everybody loves about Kathy Griffin. And honestly, Kathy, this is something you and I should have done a long time ago. It is great to see you.
This has been a long time coming.
Yeah.
And we can get into the CNN of it, but I only worked there one night a year. I just want to be clear. When I got
Yes.
canned, I was only a one night a year contractor. You were one of the faces of CNN, and I miss you. And I
miss
actually,
you.
I don't mean to sound like a Trumper, but I actually don't watch CNN anymore.
Well,
I find it too frustrating because I feel like they don't do follow-ups. And if there's not even a press corps allowed in the Pentagon anymore, then what am I watching it for?
right.
And so, I'm coming online more like so many of us are.
Well, I mean, I think that's what a lot of people think about corporate media these days. They've just kind of had it and they think that they're missing the moment. And you're absolutely right about this Pentagon press corps thing. Although I do have to say, I take my hat off to those Pentagon reporters who said, we're not going to put up with that bullshit and we're going to walk right out. So good for them. I think there are still some folks here in DC who are trying to do the job.
Yeah, that's key. For a civilian like myself, I'm a comedian by trade. I have to pay attention to politics because I like my shows to be a little bit different every night. I'm about to go on tour again, and it's called
I love
New
it.
Face, New Tour. Get it?
Yes.
I've had a little work done, Jim. I've had a little work done. I'm not going to lie.
I need a little work. So, hey,
every ticket you purchase is a middle finger to censorship.
Yes.
And so I'm going to the real America, Jim. I mean, I'm going to Richmond. I'm going to Jacksonville, which is basically Kentucky. And I'm going to try to be finding those little blue dots in a sea of red.
I love it. I mean, honestly, but that's what we need to do right now. And we need to talk to one another. And I tell people all the time, I've been to a million Trump rallies over the years, and you will run into some real salt of the earth, very nice people who just, I don't know why they support him. They're certainly supporting him against their own best interest. No question about it. It's a cultural thing. But in many cases, a lot of them are just super nice. I know people might say, what are you talking about, Jim? But it's true. And I'm sure you encounter that as well.
Oh, I have Trumper friends. I just saw one of my best friends, and she said to me, don't be mad. I hope you don't think I'm like this crazy Trumper. I hate what he did to you. And I always go, no. I grew up with Republican mom, Democrat dad, and the dinner table was always debate time. And I'm from Chicago. So if you remember the Chicago politics of my generation, we're not so clean.
Right.
We had someone named Mayor Richard Daley, the father, and he had something called the Chicago Machine. And so there was always an alderman on the take. And you just kind of were expected to know that stuff at the dinner table. And because we had competing newspapers, and now newspapers are vanishing. We had the Trib and the Times. And now, as I do my tour, it's actually more and more difficult to find media outlets to do interviews with because these local papers, which really sell tickets when you're a touring artist, you can do national press and that's great. But right now we could be watched by somebody in Indonesia where I'm not playing this time.
Right.
And yet the local press is just vanishing. And I, as somebody who's 64, I really miss it. I counted on local press.
You're absolutely right. And I can tell you, I mean, I've been to all 50 states, and you pick up the local newspaper in this town or that town because you're there for a campaign event. And every 4 years I could see the disintegration of local news. The newspapers would get smaller and smaller. They'd get thinner and thinner, more car dealership ads, less content, news content. And it's a sad thing.
And I live in Los Angeles. Actually, I live in Malibu, which is like the moon if you're in Los Angeles, but I love it here. And our beloved Los Angeles Times is now with not one of the great billionaires, which I don't know if there are any except Mackenzie Scott, but
it's true.
I'm really looking for the good billionaires, and they're not out there. Oh, I am in a beef with Elon, though, Jim. You should know that.
Wait, what's happening with Elon?
Well, he's a Nazi. And I'm just going to stand by that because he gave the Hitler salute twice at an inauguration event.
Oh, he says it wasn't that. He says it was hailing a cab or something like that.
Sure. He was getting his Uber. And I, one night at like 2 a.m, because here's my problem, Jim. I keep doing stuff if only like 3 of my friends think it's funny, and then it turns into something global. But I changed my username on Twitter before it was X, and I refuse to call it X. I just call it shitter. And I changed my username from @Kathy Griffin to @Elon Musk, and just started tweeting pro-choice comments.
I love it.
Saying I couldn't wait for President Kamala Harris. And because we live in a world with media organizations that can afford to have journalists that use, secondaries and tertiaries, so it actually got picked up as a real story. So he was furious. So the Elon fanboys came at me, and let me tell you, they're out to kill. They worship him in a cult-like fashion.
Yeah.
And then he took my account away. And then he said he took my account away because I was impersonating a comedian. That was his big joke. But he stole that joke from I had seen that tweet 1,000 times. So then I wrote him back, you fucking hack. You can't even come up with your own insult toward me. And I said, you're a Nazi. Work harder on your material. And so he's not pleased with me.
No, I can imagine not. And somebody else who's not pleased with you, I'm sure, is Donald Trump.
Oh, the Donald. The Donald. Now, Jim, here's what I want to tell you that most of your viewers probably don't know.
Yeah.
I have known the Donald for decades. He actually hired me one time to roast him at Bedminster, where he buried the second wife, or the first.
It's hard to keep track. Yeah.
In some kind of a shady plaque situation. I mean, I've got a shovel in my garage. I'll go there with you today and just dig up that grave. If you want to do any upper body work, I'll do it myself. Anyway, the last time I saw Donald, he of course he's a pussy. So I'm walking toward him at Bedminster, his own turf, and he's going, uh-oh, here she comes. Look out, everybody. She's tough. She's tough. Yeah. Don't be too tough on the hair. And I said, well, let me feel it. So I felt the bird's nest. Yeah. And it feels like a very shellacked bird's nest.
Yes.
And, I did it because it was, was it the late 90s? I've known him since the late 90s when he was a guest star on a sitcom I was on called Suddenly Susan with Brooke Shields.
I remember that show.
Marla.
Oh my gosh.
Marla. That's how long I've known him, since Marla.
Oh my God.
And I was good friends with the late, great Joan Rivers, my mentor and idol.
Oh,
and
she was
friends with Donald's sister-in-law, Blaine. And so I would hear about Donald via Joan, and Joan and I would run into Donald. And one time I sat next to him at a roast for the late Larry King, and Donald was next to me for 4 hours, Jim. Yeah. It was a nightmare.
I was going to say, wow.
Stupidity, blah, blah. I mean, the stuff that comes out of his mouth, sometimes I think he's kidding. He's so stupid. He's aggressively stupid. He's not just uninformed or distracted by other world matters.
A very stable genius.
No, he's not a mental giant. And Gilbert Gottfried, may he rest in peace, was to my right. And I kept turning to Gilbert and going, Gilbert, you have to talk to me. The Donald will not shut up. And he wants to be called the Donald, which is the weird.
That was the thing. I remember
and
that.
So and Gilbert saved me. No, I don't know what the Donald is about. He thinks it's a title.
He does. He thinks he's a king. And speaking of that, we're having the No Kings protests around the country. I'm sure you're excited about that.
Of course.
And I guess, since we're talking about him, let's talk about your comeback, and you're on tour.
Well, we can talk about the photo. Let's not act like that photo I took of his decapitated head was not reacted to in a seismic way. I'm the first comedian in history to be investigated by the Department of Justice, 2 agencies, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the Secret Service. I was interrogated under oath.
Really?
It cost me a fortune in legal fees, and they were really trying to charge me with the felony of conspiracy to assassinate the President of the United States.
Jesus. But I got a couple of questions.
And I was on the no-fly list and the Interpol list. And here's a question for you, Jim Acosta.
Yeah, please.
Do you know what this is? I was on the Five Eyes list.
Is that where they give you the full body cavity search every time you go to the airport?
It's the ISIS terror watch list, and we share it with 4 countries.
Yeah. That is not pleasant. I got on that briefly because I was on presidential trips, and I dropped off in this country over here and picked up in this country over there. And for whatever reason, I got put on the 4S list that got up on boarding passes, everything. Every time I went to the airport, it was horrible.
Every
Um,
time.
and so okay, so I feel for you on that one.
And they took my phone and my passport. So even though I have an amazing team of lawyers, I
Yeah,
wasn't able to call any of them. And you're really under their own jurisdiction, airport by airport. So you just sit
yeah,
in the detention room, and sometimes it would be 20 minutes, and sometimes, like I had a show in Singapore, it was 5 hours, and
yeah.
I'm trying to say to them, I have women and gay men that are waiting for me. You've got to let me go do my show. I promise I'm not in ISIS.
That's right. No, that's true. But here's the question that I have, and that is, are you shocked as to how canceled you got? Because
Oh,
to me,
Jim,
Donald Trump
the
is somebody
most canceled.
the
Like
most canceled, and
when
but
other
he's more.
comics talk about being canceled, I like, ha ha ha, I laugh at you.
But
Because
I'm
I
just going to say,
mean,
and I'm not saying this to puff you up, but if the roles had been reversed and he had held your head up in a picture, he would not have been canceled, and he still would have been elected
no.
president twice. I'm
He'd
just going
have
to
a
say,
groundswell of support. I mean, and also remember, I was holding up a Halloween mask with ketchup on it,
right?
and I actually put it on a wig head because it kept folding, not unlike Donald Trump
Yeah,
himself. It kept folding, and then they, of course, airbrushed out the bottom of the wig head. But I thought the picture was so over the top. It was a spoof of Medusa and Perseus, and I
yeah.
thought people are going to put this together in 2 seconds. And I was wrong. The cheese stood alone.
Yeah,
And I mean,
but I
Jim,
mean, he
everyone
says
turned on me.
he says I can shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. He
I think
says,
he's going to.
I,
I put nothing
yeah,
past him, and
right,
neither should you.
yeah. Well, and
So
so
here's my question for you, Jim Acosta.
please,
When I go to the No King's March, do
yeah.
I or do I not carry a sign that says, don't make me get the head out again?
my my personal plea to you is maybe that joke we don't do anymore. That would
Jim,
that would
Jim, First Amendment, Jim.
First Amendment.
Jim.
You're right. That's
My
right.
assistant is clapping off camera. My assistant is like, thank God for Jim Acosta.
Whatever I can do to help. I just want you to be able to travel freely around the world. That's my point here. I guess that might be it. And there it is.
Because I
Maybe
have
just
some
bring a
traveling to
giant,
do.
bring a giant middle finger and carry that around. Nobody
There you
would care
go.
about
I
that.
can do that.
But so what was it like for that period of time? What was it, years after this took place? Like
7 years I didn't
7
work,
years.
Jim.
7
7
years.
years. And I
7
mean,
years.
I've been a happy workaholic my whole career, whether it was
Yeah.
my show, My Life on the D List, or
Yep.
Suddenly Susan, or hosting
Extremely
an
hard
award
work.
show, touring. I've done more stand-up specials than any comedian, male or female, living or dead. I love doing stand-up. It's my favorite. And then
Yeah.
for the phone to just stop ringing. And I mean,
Yeah.
everyone turned on me left, right, and center. And then Jeff Zucker, that piece of shit, he issues a statement about me, puts it on the freaking CNN ticker. So then I hear that I'm fired on the ticker in my PJs crying. And then I get a call from Al Franken. I was going to do a book event for
Yeah.
him, 2 book events. And he's like, what were you thinking? And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? You too? So, I mean, I just want to be clear. It wasn't just the right. It was everybody.
It was everybody.
And I was out there alone, definitely.
And so, but now you've made this comeback. I mean, you're on People Magazine. You're doing this
It
big
says,
comedy
and the
special
title
now.
of the article is Risen from the Ashes.
I love that. I love that. And so, what is that like to be uncanceled? Because I think everybody's like, enough with punishing Kathy Griffin. Give me a break. God damn it. Donald Trump does 10 times worse shit every day.
That's
So,
right.
yeah.
You know what? I felt compelled from the minute it happened to not let it take me down for the younger women and people in comedy that are coming up, because I was raised on the greats, Rickles and Joan Rivers and George Carlin and Richard
Yeah.
Pryor and Phyllis Diller. And these are
Yeah.
people that got political when it was appropriate, said whatever they thought was funny. The number one thing in comedy should be, if it's funny and people are laughing, it's fair game.
Right.
By the way, I want to be clear. I don't have a problem with the woke mind virus. A lot of people think since I got canceled that now
Yeah.
I'm one of those comics that like wants to continue to say bad, like really bad words. And I
Right.
just want to be clear. No, I actually think it's good when younger people educate me like, oh, we don't talk about that topic this way anymore.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
use this. I like that. I want to know. I don't want
Me too.
anybody leaving in tears.
Right. I'm of the mindset like people who trash wokeism and you're trashing being tolerant. I mean, one of the things that
And
you're known
being
for, Kathy,
progressive
is
in learning about
that's
the
right.
changing times. You know, I'm going to be 65 in 2 weeks. By the way, I can't wait
Wow.
for the discounts.
No way.
I can't wait. And I'm going to work it. You have no idea.
Medicare, here we
But
come.
I want movies that have price. I want any discount I can get. I'm going to go to dinner at 4:30. I'm wild. But
I already do
no,
that.
I
But anyway,
want to know. Well, woke is an expression that white people kind of co-opted from the African American community anyway. And so
Yes.
I want to first know that, be clear about that. No white person invented that word, but I think once again, the right has taken that term, co-opted it from the co-opters
Yep.
and made it this negative thing. And what's wrong with being awake? I mean, I think
Yeah.
being woke itself on face value is only a positive thing.
Well-
we have to change with the times and learn from our mistakes and learn to see what young people are thinking, because they are our only hope.
That's right. And Kathy, the conservatives, the MAGA people are now the thought police. Like, for example,
Yeah.
they went after Jimmy Kimmel. They tried to run Jimmy Kimmel out of town. Thank God everybody
Let me tell you
rose up.
something. Jimmy Kimmel was the only one who didn't cancel me all those years. He would
Wow.
still book me. I've known him since he was the sports guy at K-Rock, the local radio station in Los Angeles.
Wow.
And, you know, I put something on Threads or Blue Sky or one of them, and I said, correct me, you know, if I'm wrong, but I don't see anything else that worked in the form of resistance, except when everyday people canceled their Disney, Hulu, and ESPN.
That's right.
Because they just, left or right, something just wasn't right about the president deciding who does late night jokes. If
That's
that
right.
isn't punching up, you know, in comedy, there's punching up. So if I make fun of Taylor Swift, that's punching up, because I'm on the D list. She's Taylor Swift, the most famous woman in the world,
Right.
talented, beautiful, winning in life. I'm still trying to get people to come see me in Jacksonville. And so, you know, that's punching up. Making fun of
Yeah.
the president, it's my job as a comic to make
That's
fun
what
of
we're
the
supposed to
president.
do.
It's your job as a journalist to call him out at a
Right.
time when people aren't doing it. So I
Exactly.
think it's more essential than ever, since you have this administration actively, and I lived it, actively, they really were able to silence me. And I would not wish that on my worst enemy.
That's right.
So I hope more comedians will be more bold about making fun of Trump and Trumpers. I do believe it's a cult. I do believe humor can be healing. And I believe there are ways you can point things out to people on both sides of the aisle, like you said, that are voting against their own best interests.
Against their own interest, no question about it. This whole government shutdown is over Obamacare.
It's not a democratic shutdown. That
Exactly.
drives me crazy.
I know. When I hear people in the media say that, and now I'm the one complaining about the media, I hear them say, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? The
Seriously.
Republicans are in charge. How is it that it's the Democrats' fault?
So are you telling me that our members of the military didn't get their check on the 15th?
I think they got enough funding through to take care of that paycheck. It's the one at the end of the month where they may be completely hosed if this thing isn't taken care of. So, but they're still lining up
hope
in
so,
food lines
'cause-
and stuff. Absolutely.
No, I
Yeah.
performed in Iraq and Afghanistan and Kuwait and Uzbekistan in war zones. And what touched me the most, well, first of all, what impressed me the most was we forget how young the members of our military are. When I
That's
looked
right.
out in the audience, they're kids.
They're
18,
babies.
they're 19.
I know. It's
And so
wild.
many of them have children themselves by the time they're, 19 or 20.
And they're living paycheck
And
to paycheck. They're not making a lot of
live
money.
Paycheck. We do not treat our military members well, or veterans.
That's
and
right.
that drives me crazy, how the Republicans act like they're the party for the military. No, I went there. Take it from me.
Yeah.
I went to Walter Reed and did a show. They are struggling. They need
Yeah.
those government funds.
And Kathy, I got to ask you, the LGBTQ community, how is it that you're like this icon for them?
Queen of the
And
gays.
The queen of the gays. I
know,
think
it's
I think
funny
it's the coolest
because
thing. I think it's one of the
I've talked
coolest
to the
things about you.
council.
Yeah.
I've talked to Cher and Bet and the rest of the council members.
Yeah.
And, I remember asking Joan Rivers this question, and her answer was, oh, And I know what that means. It's like, well, of course, what's better than a gay audience? You can't shock a gay audience.
That's
Jim,
true.
here's where I'm going to put you in your place. You are looking at the veteran of someone who has performed on, wait for it, 18 gay cruises.
Wow.
Yeah. So, Jim, you might think you've partied in your life.
I
Oh,
was
I'm
gonna
Jim
say,
Acosta. I've partied.
I
One
haven't
time I
done
got
shit.
so drunk I stayed out all night. No, honey. No, honey. You couldn't even come close. I
I would
mean,
not survive one
and so that's
cruise.
a
I
dream
wouldn't
audience.
survive.
You would
Yeah.
they'd eat you for lunch, honey. Are you kidding? You'd be done
They
by the
would.
buffet. And I would be there to make jokes. I'd throw you under the bus so fast you have no idea. Now you would be what's called a daddy or a zaddy, which is a very good category to be in.
I was
Even
going to
though we
say,
don't put people in a box anymore, but
yeah,
every so often I'll make an exception for the LGBT community because
I don't mind being
they need
objectified.
us.
It's fine. It's okay.
No. And now Trump is trying to bring back conversion camps. Are you kidding me? That's like just Grindr on steroids. So bring it on.
I know, it's true. Something tells me that those conversion camps, that's where the Grinder app like blows up in their hands or
Blows
whatever.
up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of
It's like the
course,
server
I have a
crashes.
documentary
Yeah.
about it. It's like a mixer.
And so, I mean, what's it like now? I mean, it must be so liberating, so freeing. You must feel so good. I mean, I love this about you.
I
that
am
you're back.
just so
Yeah.
lucky to be working, Jim, because like
Yeah.
I said, I'm from World War II parents, Depression parents, use it up, wear it out, make it do. That was their expression.
Right.
And I just was raised to take every job and say yes to everything. And that's what I have done my whole career. I have no debt. I own my house outright, and thank God. And so
you're back on the
everybody-
dating scene, I understand.
I'm on the apps, Jim. I'm on the apps like that whore John Mayer. John Mayer and I are destined to have one lost night in hell together. I texted him once and I said, eventually it's just going to happen because it's a numbers game, John, and you're
He
playing.
should let it happen.
He should just don't fight it, John.
Don't
Mayer.
fight it. It's
a hot redhead. Come on. And so,
and you said something to People magazine about this. You said that you went on a date with a guy who said he could kill you with his thumb in under 2 seconds or something like that. What is happening? Why is that sounds super creepy. Yeah.
Is it the male loneliness epidemic? Is that what it is? Because I don't remember that from my old dating days. But he did feel compelled to tell me, and I don't know if he took a Gav McGraw class or what, but he could kill me with his thumb in my Adam's apple in under 2 seconds was how he described it.
Did he have a red hat on with some white letters on it, or no?
I think it was a metaphorical red hat, but let me tell you something. When that check came, I just stared at it. Just stared.
Yeah.
I thought, I will wait him out. I'll sit here
Yeah.
for 5 hours. I'm not picking up that tab.
And so let me ask you this, because not to get political again, but what do you say to folks who are, because I run into this now, where people are so depressed, and we've got no King's Day coming tomorrow. They're so depressed. They think, that's it. We're fucked. It's over.
We're fucked.
It's all going down the tubes. Do you agree with that? Do you think, no, there should be hope? Like,
I think
look
there
at
should
you.
be
You
hope
came back.
because of no
You've risen
King's
from the
Day.
ashes. Okay.
I think what we have to understand is we lazy Americans have to understand that we have to be like other countries that have been on the brink of fascism, although I think we're already there, and they're in the streets every day. So I know we all have Pilates class and, you know, we have things to do and we have mouths to feed and kids to take care of. I understand. But I think the time may come when we have to be in the streets every day. And I think being Trump, knowing the Donald, that will drive him insane. Because as you know, he's all ego and he wants to be popular so much.
Yeah, right.
He wants to win an Emmy, probably more than the Nobel Peace Prize.
That's
and
true.
His obsession with that is comedy gold for me. Because of all people.
I love it.
And so I think if we can get used to the idea that, like the No King's Day March, we have to be louder, more present. Here in California, we have something called Prop 50 that I hope passes, which is our very brave governor, Gavin Newsom, whether you like him or not.
Yeah.
He is the best troll to the Donald.
He has been good.
He wins that prize. And that means that if Texas is allowed to gerrymander the way they do, then California would be allowed. Because I don't know if you've experienced this, but when I go overseas, the minute they hear my American accent, whether they recognize me or not, everywhere I go, people stop what they're doing and they go, what the fuck are you guys doing over there? How did you elect him again?
That's
Like,
what
I'll
I
be
hear
at an
too.
ice cream shop in Copenhagen, and they'll just stop what they're doing and go, explain. And then you have to get into gerrymandering, which is
I
our
know.
Federalist Society and all that
People around the
stuff.
world
But
do
I
not
think
understand our fucked up political system here with
because it's so fucked
gerrymandering and
up,
electoral
and we make it
college.
so
And
that you can't undo a problem for
right.
years. In England, they get a new PM in 8 days.
It's like a head of lettuce. You throw it out. When it's bad, you throw it out.
Yes. Okay, one more thing, just to
Yeah,
get you
please.
mini canceled.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say this, and you can put my tinfoil hat on. Are you ready?
I love it. Please.
I, Kathy Griffin, do not think that Donald won in a free and fair election.
Ooh. It's a hot take.
You don't have
I've
to
seen
agree.
that hot
You
take.
don't have to agree. You
Yeah.
don't have to agree. But something, and
Something's
now I
weird.
know I sound like a
Yeah.
Trumper, but something with Elon giving $1 million a vote, and then him winning all 7 swing states for the first time in history.
Yep.
But the Democrats won the down ballot, and the disastrous first term. Something about it doesn't smell right. So I hope in my lifetime to see history reflect some kind of Watergate revelatory Alex Butterfield moment where somebody comes clean about the election, because I can't be convinced he won. I know that makes me sound crazy.
Well, and I think it's because people are of the mindset, like, it's sort of like what we hear from people around the world. How in the world could he get back in there after everything that he did? I totally understand that. I'll do you one better. I'd like to see him beaten fair and square in this upcoming midterm cycle. And in 2028, just try it, buddy. Try a third term. He's going to get destroyed. There's just no way.
Do you think we're going to have midterms?
Yes, I think we'll have midterms. And
Will
I think
they
it's
be
going to be
free and fair?
I think they'll be free and fair. I think so. I think the clock is ticking. I think they will run out of time. I do not think they will have the time to pull this off, what they're trying to do.
I love your optimism. I'm so afraid we're not going to have midterms, or they're going to be somehow manipulated. I'm so afraid, because when they accused poor Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss of doing what they did, and they made that tape on a loop on Fox, and those 2 women had their lives decimated. I mean, they won in a court of law, and that's great. But when I heard their testimony in front of the J6 hearings, which I had screening parties for in my screening room, that's how into it I am.
Right. No.
And I think that what they accuse us of doing, they invariably are revealed to have done themselves.
I agree.
And I fear that they have a crooked version of poll folks that just might be somewhere in probably one of the markets I'm going to go to on my tour. But I fear the little guy as much as I fear the Elons.
Yeah, but I think you have to have hope. And I think one of the reasons why you have to have hope, Kathy, is your story. You have, as people say.
If I can go back, anybody can come back. I'm telling you.
So maybe America can have a comeback too. You know, I mean, we'll just have to think about it that way. But Kathy, great to see you. And if I'm wrong about all this shit, we'll reconvene and you can just say, I told you so, Acosta.
Whatever you want. All right, you're great, Jim. Thank you.
I'm so happy for you. So pleased for you. And best of luck on the tour. Hold up. Can we hold up the flyer one more time?
Of course I can.
There it is right there. New face, new tour. Every ticket you purchase is a middle finger to censorship. That is the message of this moment. Kathy Griffin, I'm so glad you're back. I'm so grateful that you came on. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It means a lot.
All right. Take care of those doggies. I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Okay, the great Kathy Griffin. And I love to see a story of redemption. I love to see a story of comeback. I'd love to, it's just great. And she's the epitome of that. And I just, I go back to the point I made earlier. I mean, Donald Trump has done way worse shit over and over and over again. So if he can be elected and put back in the White House, Kathy Griffin should be able to go back on tour and have all the comedy specials and late night appearances that she wants. I'm so glad that she has been uncanceled. I'm so glad that she is appearing in places like People Magazine. She's got her own comedy special coming up on YouTube. And it just goes to show you, folks, you can get knocked down by this guy. You can be on the mat. You can be down for the count, and you can still get back up and start swinging again. And that's what Kathy's doing. So I'm really glad to see that as well. Thanks to Kathy Griffin. My thanks to Frank Figluzzi, and my thanks to all of you. Another week has ended, and really appreciate everybody tuning in. And you know what? Don't forget, we haven't completely ended. Don't forget tomorrow, No King's Day. You'll have the No King's Day coverage with Joy and Don and myself. But finally, I don't say this enough, but I'm going to say it here. I try to say it on as many Fridays as I can remember to do it. Thanks to all of you for subscribing, for keeping this show going. When you hit that like button, when you hit that subscribe button, when you become a part of this independent news community, it makes a huge difference. It gets other people watching. It gets the rest of the folks in legacy media watching. Just last night, we had this town hall with Michael Fanone down at University of Virginia. And we had an audience that was just mesmerized as Mike told a story from January 6th that day. And I met a student from the University of Virginia, a student journalist named Sophia, who was booted out of her job as a student journalist with the campus TV station there because she was asking the president of UVA some tough questions. I wouldn't be able to host a town hall like that, where a moment like that can happen, if it weren't for the support that all of you give. And if you want to hear Sophia's story, my friend Tommy Christopher at Mediaite has already written a story about it. I'll post that on my Substack so you guys can see that later. But it just goes to show you that the support that you give to this program, it makes a difference. When I finished that discussion with Mike at UVA, Mike said to me later on that night, "Thank you, Jim. Thank you." We're trying to give a platform to people whose voices have been suppressed, whose voices have not been given a fair shake. And that's what this community is all about. And I love that it's growing and thriving, and that's because of all of you. So thanks very much for that. Really appreciate that. Just wanted to end on that note of gratitude here on this Friday. Still reporting from Washington, I'm Jim Acosta. Have a great weekend. I'll see you on No King's Day.
We had the opportunity to meet former Vice President Kamala Harris, and I got to speak to her for a minute. And first of all, that was epic. I was in a line because I read her book, 107 Days, which I really liked. And we were talking for a second, and she said, "Continue to speak truth to power," which I was very flattered that she would say that to me, because most politicians are afraid of me because I'm a radical. And then I said, "Madam Vice President, I shouldn't swear around you, but I just think you're the shit." And then you know what she said to me? She turned to me and she goes, "Take no shit." What? So I feel that's the edict that she has given to me. So I'm taking no shit this week. Donald Trump is a bad dude, and you'll see history will reflect. But for now, you can just take my word for it if you don't feel like paying attention to politics.